Research shows that visa applications by Africans are more likely to be rejected in Germany. An investigation by our partners DWTV revealed that 1 in every 5 visa applications to Germany by Africans are rejected. You may have some answers to yourself, but let's cross over to Berlin and check with political correspondent Thomas Spiro what reasons there are. Thomas, it's good to have you once again. Tell us why this investigation was carried out in the first place.
Essentially because my DW colleagues who carried out this investigation wanted to find out answers regarding visa applications for Germany and what the different regions have as an answer there, whether one specific region is more or less affected by rejections or more or less affected by other types of decisions. It's important, Gifty, to stress here that we're not talking about short-term visas, in other words, visas that you apply for if you want to visit a country for 2 or 3 days. We're talking here about longer-term visas, for example, study visas or work visas or family reunion visas, and at the same time, we're not talking about processed or filed visas. We're talking about visa applications decisions. In other words, whether the visa application was accepted or was rejected. That obviously makes this data-driven analysis much clearer, because we're talking only about specific applications and specific decisions.
Were there any reasons that the work found which accounted for the rejection of visa applications, especially by Africans?
Well, it was difficult to find specific reasons. My colleagues tried to contact the German Foreign Office for a specific interview on this. The German Foreign Office instead decided to just present a statement, and in that statement it says that they use objective criteria when it comes to deciding on specific applications, that they do not instruct their embassies abroad to have specific country-specific decisions. In other words, to award one country different reasons than other countries when it comes to visa decisions. They specifically stress that there are objective criteria here, but if you talk obviously to experts and to analysts and to people who know the process from a different perspective, not necessarily from an official perspective, but from academia, they do see that that country origin plays a role when it comes to deciding whether an applicant's visa is rejected or accepted. In fact, I've got here a quote by one of the experts that was interviewed by our colleagues here, and he says that it's always a matter of the political situation in the home country of a visa applicant. The question is whether entry into Germany, and this is not a direct quote, the question is whether entry into Germany is seen as likely to pose a threat to security, to health, or the social system. In other words, whereas the German Foreign Office specifically stressed that we're talking here about objective criteria, other analysts stressed that naturally that obviously countries of origin do play a role.
Did the reports find anything that could point to perhaps issues of unfair discrimination or just really justifiable grounds for these rejections?
Well, again, it's difficult to find out. The first stage, if you will, of this investigation was simply to do this data-driven analysis. In other words, to take these visa applications from 2014 to 2017, bring them all here to DW and use that data, use that material in order to find out these initial results that I'm discussing here with you. These results that show, for example, that exactly what you mentioned about applications from Africa. Probably a next step, if there were a next step in this investigation, it would be to try and find out more in detail what the reasons behind this investigation are. But for now, what we have, and you can also read it all on dw.com, simply the results from this data-driven analysis. And by the way, data-driven analysis is one of the key priorities here at Deutsche Welle, one of the areas that my colleagues working in this data-driven investigations want to develop in the next few years.
And we're looking at 2014 to 2017. My final question will be whether or not there has been any reaction or any responses after this investigation was done, so that perhaps those who are applying for visas, later will be advised. But obviously, we don't have the reasons. But are there any responses beyond the justification that you're getting from those who take these decisions?
Not really, no specific reactions on this. There are obviously examples that were used. There are obviously case studies that have been considered. But again, if you only focus on what the embassies have said and what the German Foreign Office has stressed, they say that objective criteria has been used, and as such, then it becomes particularly important for people applying for visas to try and make sure that they comply with those objective criteria that are so important from an official perspective in order to award or reject a specific visa application.
All right, Thomas, thank you very much. I was hoping that there would be some advice, you know, for those who will subsequently apply or those who want to apply. But of course, they will have to just stick to the criteria that's openly available. Thank you so much for that update. Thomas Sparrow is political correspondent with our partners DW, joining us all the way from Berlin here on The Pulse.